Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Forbes Comic News Comic Book Reading Club. This month was Infinite Crisis, brought to you by Geoff Johns and Phil Jimenez. So we've got a really fun story, DC Comics event from the early 2000s, and let's jump right into it. So Infinite Crisis is taking on the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths and giving consequence to those events. So we've got Earth 2 Superman, Earth 2 Lois Lane, Earth 3 Luthor, Superboy Prime, and they want their Earth back. They want to go back to the way it was before Crisis on Infinite Earths. And Superman's being led to believe that the other heroes here, Superboy and Luthor, are doing what's right and doing what's good and trying to bring back the multiverse. But not so much. You can never trust a Luthor. So the art in this book is fantastic. Phil Jimenez is one of the best in the business. And also George Perez is on it, Ivan Reis. There's a whole bunch of great artists here. And the events here are convoluted and confusing and intense, but it's so much fun. And I highly recommend reading Crisis on Infinite Earths before you read this book. But I think it does... You can catch on to what's going on without reading that. Now, one thing is this book holds up much better than Crisis on Infinite Earths does. I thought it was a story that you could give to anyone today, hand it to them, and they would really enjoy it. Whereas Crisis has its moments, is kind of stuck in a pre-comic book world. So, and what I mean by that is if you read some older comics, they can be harder to read. Some of the hardcore will still read those books and still love those books, but there's a comic book reading before Dark Knight, and there's a comic book reading after Dark Knight. And this definitely takes place after Dark Knight, has that kind of style to it, the modern style, whereas Crisis on Infinite Earths is still stuck in that style before Dark Knight. And so it can be tougher to get through. Not saying it's a bad book, not saying I didn't enjoy it myself, just saying this one holds up much better today. So that's enough on Crisis on Infinite Earths. Let's talk about Infinite Crisis. So Superboy Prime in this was really good. He was so OP and so ridiculous, and I loved everything about his character. We got the Trinity, and there's an event here where before this book, Wonder Woman had killed somebody, and the Trinity was kind of scattered because of this event. Didn't know if they could trust her. Didn't know if she was still a good guy or bad guy. Having trouble with that whole event. Obviously, Batman, who was strongly against killing, had a huge problem with it, and Superman as well, who was also somewhat against killing, had a huge problem with it too. So they're fighting their own battles. They're separated and fractured while all of this is going on. And Luthor and Superboy find some of the heroes and villains from these other Earths in the multiverse and put them into this giant battery that's supposed to bring back the multiverse so that they can recreate Earth 2. All the while, Superman thinks that if he brings back the multiverse, I'm talking about Earth 2 Superman here, if he brings back the multiverse and brings back Earth 2 in particular, that he can save Lois, who is extremely sick. So they bring back Earth 2, and it turns out he was wrong. And he finds out that Luthor was actually planning against him the whole time. And this spins into a whole bunch of events. You get to see so many amazing characters and so many great fight scenes and great discussions in here. I definitely think that this is a book that I wish I read sooner. I really, really enjoyed it, and I hope you all enjoyed it too. And then, if you've gotten this far, I hope you've read the book already. We end with the Trinity still fractured, and they're kind of leaving the universe to the heroes other than them moving forward. And that's going to lead us into the book that we're doing next month, which is Volume 1 of 52. So, other great things in here. We get the introduction of the new Blue Beetle and the relationship between him and Booster Gold. That's kind of solidified and brought in this book as the Blue Beetle that we know today. We get a lot of spotlight characters we don't normally get. Heroes from Earth X. Shazam plays a big part in this book. We get Power Girl, one of my favorites personally, and Huntress, another one of my favorites. And so many great heroes in this book. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And if you did, comment below. Let me know what you thought. And remember, if you jump over to patreon.com/FortressComicNews, you can get into our Slack channel, and we can discuss this book as the month goes on. And next month's book, which is going to be 52 Volume 1. Now, if you haven't got a copy of 52 Volume 1, I do have an affiliate link below. Click on that if you want to. If not, go to your local comic shop and buy it. I know they would love your support as well. And as always here at Fortress Comic News, keep on reading those comics.